the people of Palestine. But in order to be successful politically, it's not good enough to simply take on Trump and the oligarchs every day. What we need to do, which the Democratic Party, the leadership, does not do, is have a vision of where we want this country to be. And let me just remind all of you that the truth of the matter is that in the richest country on earth, and at a time, and I got a lot of concerns about AI and robotics. I don't know that we can get into it tonight, but that's a whole other issue. But we have the potential to become even richer. And from a world historical point of view, throughout the history of the world, and today, people are struggling, and there are countries in the world where people are trying to survive on $1 a day. Kids are dying from easily preventable diseases. Throughout history, human beings have struggled just to stay alive. For the first time in world history, human history, we now have the opportunity with sane democratic policies to create a decent life for every man, woman, and child in this country. That is not a radical idea. So what I am begging of you is don't think small, think big. Health care is a human right. Every man, woman, and child. We need Medicare for all. And I want young people to become doctors and nurses and healthcare professionals without going deeply into debt, because we desperately need you. Now you tell me in this great and inventive country where we have so many brilliant minds, you tell me why we are not having the best educational system in the world. We used to be the best educated country on earth. That's no longer the case. I want every young person to know, from 3 years of age on, that he or she does their work well. They will be able to get all of the education they need, regardless of the income of their family. Education is a human right. We need to attract the best and the brightest into education and pay them the kind of salaries that their work demands. Which is why I've introduced legislation that no teacher in America should make a starting salary of less than $60,000 a year. We can do it. You can have the best child care system in the world, best higher education system in the world. And maybe, just maybe, instead of spending $1 trillion on the Pentagon, a government agency which cannot even complete an independent audit, massive waste and fraud, maybe instead of spending $1 trillion on the Pentagon, we spend a few $100 billion building low-income and affordable housing in America. Maybe instead of giving tax breaks to the fossil fuel industry, we start investing in the cheapest form of new electricity, solar and wind, to create millions of jobs to save the planet. And maybe here on Labor Day, we make it clear that at a time when millions of workers understand the importance of unions and want to join unions, we're going to pass legislation to prohibit corporations from firing workers who want to join a union. We're going to pass the PRO Act. We're going to raise the minimum wage to a living wage, $17 an hour. We're going to end the absurdity of being one of very few countries in the world that does not guarantee paid family and medical leave. Now, at a time when so many seniors are struggling, when half of older workers have nothing in the bank as they face retirement, you got Republicans out there talking about their desire to cut Social Security. Well, we're not going to cut Social Security. We're going to expand Social Security benefits. And we're going to do that by lifting the cap on taxable income so the wealthy start paying their fair share of taxes. Absolutely. Let me give you, very often I get criticized, like every day. And people say, oh, Bernie is a radical, he's out of the mainstream and all that stuff. I want you to understand, please understand that everything we are talking about are supported by a majority of the American people. These are not radical ideas. Brothers and sisters, we got to be thinking outside the box. In this state, we got to elect Graham, and we got to elect Troy and other good people. But they can't do it alone. They really can't. And we have got to, at this moment, not just for ourselves, but for our kids and future generations and the very well-being of the planet, we got to be thinking in new ways, and that means being involved in whatever way we are comfortable in being involved. I will tell you this, what the ruling class does through their media and their culture is they basically try to say that ordinary people are powerless. What they're saying is they have all the money, they have all of the power, you got nothing. And they can do anything they want, and you can't stop them. Well, I think we've got some news for them. Not only can we stop them, not only will we stop them, but for the future of this country and, in fact, the world, we must stop them. Today on Labor Day, when we thank the unions for all they have done for the working class of this country, we understand and remember what a union is. A union is the understanding that one person cannot do it alone, that we all have got to come together to fight with and for each other. And what the union movement is about is solidarity forever. Thank you all.
At a Fight Oligarchy rally in Portland, Maine, Senator Bernie Sanders, Independent Vermont, outlined what his supporters must do to bring about progressive change in the United States. He began by emphasizing the importance of having a vision for the country, explaining that political success requires more than simply opposing individuals like former President Trump and the country's wealthiest elites. Instead, he stressed the need for an overarching vision of a better future for all citizens. Sanders highlighted the immense wealth potential of the United States, calling it the richest country on earth, but also pointed out the stark contrast with the global struggles faced by many. Across the world, people survive on less than $1 a day, and children die from diseases that are preventable with the right health care. He pointed out that, for the first time in history, there is an opportunity to change this reality through sane, democratic policies that can create a decent life for every person, regardless of background. He proposed policies such as Medicare for all, viewing health care as a fundamental human right. Sanders called for a future where young people can become doctors, nurses, and healthcare professionals without being burdened by overwhelming student debt. This, he argued, is essential for addressing the nation's health crisis and ensuring that all citizens have access to the care they need. Turning to education, Sanders criticized the state of the U.S. education system, which, according to him, is no longer the best in the world. He expressed his desire for every child, starting at age 3, to have access to high-quality education, regardless of their family's income. He also proposed legislation to ensure that teachers, the backbone of this system, are paid a starting salary of no less than $60,000 a year, an effort he believes is essential to attracting the brightest minds to the profession. In addition to education, Sanders discussed the need for a stronger focus on housing and energy. He advocated for investing in low-income and affordable housing, rather than continuing to funnel massive amounts of money into the Pentagon, an agency that, he argued, cannot even complete an independent audit. He also proposed redirecting funds from fossil fuel subsidies to renewable energy projects, such as solar and wind, which could create millions of jobs while helping to combat climate change. On Labor Day, Sanders underscored the importance of unions and workers' rights. He voiced support for the PRO Act, a piece of legislation designed to protect workers' right to unionize without fear of retaliation. Additionally, he pushed for raising the minimum wage to $17 per hour, which he argued would allow millions of workers to make a living wage. Sanders also advocated for paid family and medical leave, a policy that is sorely lacking in the U.S. compared to other nations. Addressing the struggles of senior citizens, Sanders criticized proposals from Republicans to cut Social Security. He reaffirmed his commitment to expanding Social Security benefits, funded by lifting the cap on taxable income so that the wealthiest Americans contribute their fair share. This, he argued, is vital for ensuring that seniors can live with dignity and financial security. Throughout the rally, Sanders made it clear that the ideas he champions are not radical but widely supported by the American people. He called for bold action and a willingness to think outside the box in order to create a better future for all. As he wrapped up his speech, he reminded the crowd of the power of collective action, referencing the solidarity of the union movement as an example of how ordinary people can come together to fight for justice and equality. In his closing remarks, Sanders urged his supporters to be involved in the political process, regardless of how they choose to participate. He warned that the ruling class, through their media and cultural influence, often tries to convince ordinary people that they are powerless. But Sanders made it clear that, with unity and determination, they can stop the elites and build a more just and equitable society.